Good morning, and it is Tuesday morning, and I'm flipping lights on so I can see you guys, and you can see me. So, the John Cena thing, you can't see me. You can now, because I turned the lights on. But I'm about ready to have some lunch in a little bit. But before I had some lunch, I thought I would knock out a Raw recap video for you. And you know what? Last night's Raw was really good. And actually, I'm going to break it down for you in just a few minutes, exactly what I thought of it. But first, I can't really say anything about this whole political situation with Glenn Beck. I don't really know anything about politics. It sounds to me like a lot of people think that Glenn Beck is in the wrong, and I agree with that. But when it comes down to it, I cannot speak on this situation, so I'm not actually going to speak on this situation. I will say that as a wrestling fan and a former member of the wrestling business, I actually am quite appalled by the statement that he basically labels everyone stupid wrestling fans. I don't like that. I don't like being called a stupid wrestling fan. So, I know a lot of people that are very, very intelligent that actually watch professional wrestling on the regular. I know a lot of celebrities via Twitter that actually watch wrestling on the regular. So, there is no validity to his statement whatsoever. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. Now we're getting to our Raw recap, and I'm going to be heading off to work in a little bit under 2 hours. But before I do that, like I said, it is time for the Raw recap. We are live, not live to tape, we are live from Dallas, Texas. And we're going to start off, of course, with our normal voiceover guy. And we bring it back to the date of January 28th. And on January 28th, Paul Heyman was about to get fired. And Vince literally was about ready to utter those famous words, "You're..." Lesnar's music hit. And then Lesnar came to the ring and F5 Vince McMahon and shocked the world. That wasn't on the internet. Anyway, so Cena, of course, couldn't get it done. That was the purpose of CM Punk's promo. And basically, this goaded Cena to put up his title shot at WrestleMania that week on Raw. Punk said, we're not doing it this way. We're not doing it here. We're doing it next week in Dallas. So that set up the main event for tonight's Raw. And, of course, after that, basically, we ended up going to Vince McMahon in the ring. And that's a great way to start the segment. So Vince comes to the ring on crutches. He's only 3 weeks removed from his total hip replacement surgery. Now, he seems ready for this fight with Paul Heyman. So, he says, regardless of his condition, he plans on this fight and asks for the ultimate fighter, Paul Heyman. So, Heyman comes out in a tracksuit, looking a whole lot more like he's ready to fight Missy Hyatt back in 1990 in WCW, instead of fighting Vince McMahon in 2013. So, of course, he talks about, tonight you're going to witness history. You're going to see literally a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. So basically, he did another thing, which of course ticked off a lot of people, which he compared Vince McMahon to Tony Romo of the Cowboys not being able to get things done. Of course, that made the crowd absolutely hate Paul Heyman, even more so than they already did. So he says, you're wearing a suit, so... Of course, I'm paraphrasing. You're wearing a suit, so I would expect an executive decision. And something he've always wanted to tell Vince. And then next thing you know, he double-legged him and took one of the crutches, and he cracked it over Vince's bad hip. He goes for another one. Vince catches it this time, and he cracks Heyman over the head. Heyman goes down, and Vince is winding up, and Lesnar's music hits again. So Lesnar comes down the ramp, and Vince is just stuck in the ring, and Lesnar's doing his dance like he always does, and Lesnar's about to strike. Then all of a sudden, time to play the game! And another one of the worst kept secrets of professional wrestling, Bobby Roode, Hunter Helmsley, triple BR, Anyway, Triple H comes to the ring, still has the Bobby Roode haircut. I'm going to call him, I'll figure it out. Bobby Helmsley works fine for me. But anyway, he comes to the ring, and Lesnar's waiting on him, and they start brawling on the floor, and basically... So, Triple H takes him down with a Fez press, and Lesnar takes him into the barricade, and Triple H literally slams him headfirst into the ring post, busting him wide open. So badly that the ring post was covered in blood the second that he hit. So he's bleeding profusely everywhere, and the camera is trying to get these shots, obviously, to cover how brutal this brawl is, but blood on television is kind of a no-no in the PG era. So basically, they had to do whatever they could to make the shots make sense, and also they had to show the blood. They just had to. I'm sure it may be edited out. I don't know. I doubt it with this situation. But Hunter closes lines Lesnar over the barricade. Lesnar catches him this time, drops Triple H on the announce table. Not really an F5, more like an FU actually, so it was really interesting, like the modified fireman's carry under the top of the table. Lesnar goes for the crutch, tosses it down, actually throws it over to the side, grabs a steel chair instead, gets in the ring, Triple H double legs him, and spine busters him while he's holding the chair. Lesnar struggles up to his feet, chair shot to the back, he retreats, and Triple H stands tall. So, that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Actually, we knew that Triple H and Brock Lesnar were going to be facing each other at WrestleMania. We knew tonight would have to be the night that it was going to start, because we've got 6 weeks of television until WrestleMania, and you have to start this right now. Now, another thing that wasn't started last night, that's another story. I'll talk about that as we get on with this recap. So, nice to see Triple H back, even though he still has the Bobby Roode hair. I like it. I like this. I like this rejuvenated, like, hardcore, violent, extreme Triple H. And I think there's only one thing you could do at WrestleMania. You have to have a gimmick match. I don't care if it's a cage, just a regular cage. I don't care if it's Hell in a Cell. I don't care if it's First Blood. I think that was actually kind of set up pretty well last night. I don't care if it's no disqualification. There's got to be some sort of a stipulation. I'm not talking about sledgehammer on the pole ladder match. I'm talking about there has to be a legitimate stipulation. And I think that, excuse me, what I would do was I would do maybe a First Blood match. That's a possibility, so Triple H. But then again, the thing is that you want to see them both bleed because they hate each other so much. So you could do like a no disqualification match, and there's a lot of different directions you can go. WWE, don't screw this up, actually. It's a great idea to actually go with a stipulation match for Mania. It's not just a regular match like before. I think that it'd be a great idea for WrestleMania to have a solid stipulation match between Triple H and Brock Lesnar to solidify the fact that they absolutely hate each other. So, we go to a commercial break, and of course, we get our normal recap of Triple H and returning to the ring and his brawl with Lesnar. We get to our first match of the evening. Dear God, why? Mr. Money in the Bank himself, Dolph Ziggler, the show-off, with Big E Langston, and the very beautiful AJ Lee in his corner, taking on Ryback. Yay. I need that like I need a kick in the groin. I'm sure Dolph feels the same. As usual, Dolph Ziggler bumps up like a pinball like he always does. Makes Ryback look like $1 million. And you know, right now, it's just, they need that, honestly, because I think he's losing his steam, personally. Not just because I don't like the guy. I don't like the character of Ryback. I think that the character is losing its steam. But this was a way to rejuvenate the character. But then again, here's my problem with this. You're rejuvenating the Ryback character. I get that. I know it's what you're trying to do. But you've built Dolph Ziggler up really bad headed towards WrestleMania and his most likely cash in at WrestleMania. Obviously, he's got until, I think it's July, to be able to cash in. Or it might just be WrestleMania. It depends on when they decide they want to rewrite the rulebook or not. But he has to cash in Money in the Bank soon, and I mean soon. The problem is, if you put the World Heavyweight title on Jack Swagger, which you very well could, you don't have Ziggler, you can't have Ziggler cash in on a heel champion. I mean, there's got to be some way you can get around this, but I'll talk about that later on. Actually, I'll talk about that when we talk about WrestleMania. But actually, I think WrestleMania this year, I'm going to have Will over, and we're going to do a round table. So I think we'll do that. I don't know for sure. I'll figure it out somewhere down the road. We got 6 weeks till Mania. So, it's a short match, and I mean a really short match, but at least it has a commercial break in the middle. So, basically, I want to go to the finish like I always do with these recaps. So, we come back from commercial, and there is a stalling vertical suplex, Davey Boy Smith style, And Ryback is just holding Ziggler up there. And eventually he just lets him go. And God knows how long he actually held it. Only the live crowd in Dallas knows for sure, because we came back from commercial. Dolph was already up in the air. So Dolph rolls to the outside. He tries to catch Ryback with a boot, and he gets shoved back. Langston takes the advantage and drops Ryback behind the referee's back, so that's good. So Dolph rolls him back in, only gets a 1 count this time around. He drop kicks him right in the back of the head and goes for a pin again. This time, of course, he kicks out once again at 1. Dolph goes for a headlock. He gets thrown off. He ducks the charge. Ryback rams him in the ring post, and Ziggler hooks him up and hits that like stalling DDT that I like to see so much. Got a near fall. This time he goes for the sleeper hold. And in a nice nod to old school wrestling fans, given the fact that it's old school next week on Raw, we saw Skip Sheffield's old backpack stunner. And he only gets the 2 count on that. Actually, he should have got the 2 count on that, or the 3 count on that, but he didn't do it because it wasn't Skip Sheffield, it was Ryback. So, in this case, it just broke the hold. Dolph charges, he got pancake, Ziggler gets flapjacked, AJ goes for the distraction, and Big E goes for yet another piece of interference, and of course this time he gets knocked off the apron. He goes for the zigzag, and he gets literally swatted off like he's a common housefly. Ryback picks him up, and a ginormous spine buster. AJ only looks on in horror as the shell shock is landed, and Ryback wins clean. Actually, it was about 11. It seemed like a shorter match watching it, but it was an 11-minute match according to this, about 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I mean, I understand build Ryback. Put him against someone else. Put him against someone else you're not trying to build. You can put him against a Heath Slater or a Drew McIntyre. God, just have him face 3MB in a 3-on-1 challenge match. Do something. Do not put him against Dolph Ziggler. If anyone does not need a loss right now, it's Dolph Ziggler. You need to build Ziggler up. You need to have him beat credible opponents. You have him, right now, I'd have him beat Randy Orton. I mean, it worked for Antonio Cesaro and Wade Barrett, so they're the secondary champions right now. So you're trying to build Dolph Ziggler right now. Why don't you have him get a credible win over Randy Orton? Why don't you have him beat Sheamus? Why don't you have him beat someone? Because when he cashes in, number one, it's too little too late. And because everybody wants Ziggler to win the money, has the money in the bank, right now, it's just, it's not working. And it sucks because there's so much potential with Dolph Ziggler as the World Heavyweight Champion, and I know it's going to work. The problem is, you've got this time, money, and in this case, advertising and publicity invested in Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio right now. So you have to think that Swagger's winning the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. You have Ziggler cash in on a heel champion? It's happened before. I mean, hell, it happened. Swagger cashed in on a heel champion. He cashed in when Edge was champion. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, there's so many directions you can go. But the first thing you don't do is job Dolph Ziggler right now. And this match was not very competitive. Ziggler hit a few high spots and made Ryback look $1 billion. And hopefully they get Ryback away from Dolph Ziggler. Get him away from Antonio Cesaro. Thank God they haven't put him against Barrett yet. But I think I just called the Raw match next week. Oh, great. Anyway, time to build him up, I get that. And I think Ryback is still on target against the Shield at Mania if they don't go with the tag team title match. And of course, I say the tag team title switch. But we'll talk about that later in the future. Now, actually, after that, we saw a preview of one of the next WWE films called The Call. And The Call, of course, has Halle Berry and Abigail Breslin in it. And David Otunga has a bit role, and doing a bit role as I see him for a bit, as in a second, as a cop. So, basically, Punk comes to the ring, and he's going to cut a promo. So tonight on live television, we're going to witness history, a story that's been told for years. Tonight we'll see the end of it and the beginning of something new. It's not just an epic match, It's not about Cena or The Rock or even about WrestleMania or even the people. Shockingly enough, it's not even about the WWE Championship. It's about the future, which is bigger than Rock, Cena, or WrestleMania. It's all about CM Punk. It's all about him taking his place in the showcase of the Immortals that is WrestleMania. He's held the WWE Championship longer than anyone has in decades. He's beaten Cena. He's pinned Rock twice. He's the best in the world, deserves to go to WrestleMania. We are in the presence of an icon. Think about that, the wording there. An icon, a legend, and the greatest of all time. And in his best Ric Flair, he says CM Punk is God. So, interesting. Very interesting. Interesting choice of words. I know there's a lot of whispers about CM Punk and Undertaker for WrestleMania. And even though, oh, spoiler alert, you don't see Undertaker tonight, and he wasn't in Dallas, that still lays the groundwork slightly, because Punk said he's a legend. He's an icon. He's the best in the world. Obviously says best in the world every week. It's like he's going out of style. But honestly, when it boils down to, is Punk said the right buzzwords that make sense for a match against The Undertaker. And I think it still might happen. I mean, they brought The Undertaker out at a house show in Waco, Texas on Saturday night. And he was Sheamus' tag team partner against Damian Sandow and Wade Barrett. Now, that's, of course, where I decided the buzzer goes off in my head and says Wade Barrett needs to be his opponent for WrestleMania. Because, number one, they don't care about the Intercontinental title, apparently. They did for a while, and now they just don't care. I like seeing Barrett with a title. I think it needs to be a lot higher title. I think I'd like to see Barrett as World Heavyweight Champion. I like to see Barrett as WWE Champion, but that's another story altogether. I've been a huge fan of Barrett since he started on NXT. But when it comes down to it, I mean, you got the perfect storyline in mind. You've got The Undertaker. He comes back against Wade Barrett. That's the first thing. Number one. Number two, Barrett can say, you know, I had a lot of superstars back in the day that tried to take you out, and I was part of them. But in this case, I decided that I'm going to do the job myself, because I'm Wade Barrett, and I'm going to end the streak of WrestleMania. Okay, my Barrett was a lot better back in the day, but I hope it was at least a little good, because, I mean, it's early morning, so my voice isn't really there yet. I think the only thing I really can say is Wade Barrett is John Cena, and I barely can say that anymore. But still, that's no disrespect to you, Ashley. Honestly, I know you're the one I would think about that would get pissed about this, but I just tried. I'm sorry, I just wanted to do an impersonation because I'm just trying. And I like Wade Barrett. I think Barrett's awesome, and I really like to see them do something with Barrett. And I think putting him in with The Undertaker, and like I said in my weird, awkward promo, using Barrett's voice, is the fact that you've got Barrett. Back in the day, of course, the Nexus tried to take The Undertaker out, and they couldn't get the job done. The whole group couldn't. But Wade Barrett, in his infinite wisdom, knows he can get the job done, and he can make history at WrestleMania by being the man who ends the streak. And bam! Undertaker or Wade Barrett this year at WrestleMania. And, of course, you do 21-0. And I think it'd work really well, and it'd be a great rub for Wade Barrett. And after that's over, you get him really solidified in the world title picture on SmackDown, and I think it would lead to him against Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Barrett winning the championship. But that's just something I see. After that, of course, we saw the next inductee in the 2013 WWE Hall of Fame, the Donald himself. That's right, Donald Trump was inducted, of course. His claim to fame at WrestleMania, two things. Number one, of course, he held WrestleMania 4 and 5 at Trump Tower in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the thing that most modern fans would know him for is the Battle of the Billionaires, which was Bobby Lashley against Umaga, hair versus hair. And of course he, with the help of Bobby Lashley, shaved Vince McMahon bald at the end of that match. Of course, the fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin was the referee probably didn't hurt things any either. So, the fact that the Celebrity Apprentice starts on Sunday, it's really relevant that Donald Trump is getting inducted in the 2013 Hall of Fame. I guess that means that Cyndi Lauper may not this time. I don't recall if there's any heat between Cyndi Lauper and the Donald or not. I just really hope that when Donald Trump shows up, he brings Don Jr. and the very beautiful Ivanka Trump with him. And I think he will, because usually they travel everywhere with him. So, That'd be awesome to see his induction speech, because Donald Trump has a way with words, and I really think that he's going to do a good job in his Hall of Fame speech at WrestleMania this year. These sinuses are terrible. So thank God they took my advice. And I'm sure they didn't take my advice, but I mean, they took everyone's advice in this, because I talked about it last week. And they're going to blow this off, because using Mark Henry at WrestleMania, a good idea. Using Khali at WrestleMania, bad idea. It's like good idea, bad idea, back from Animaniacs days. And, good idea. Using Mark Henry at WrestleMania, bad idea. Using Great Khali at WrestleMania, terrible idea. Using Khali against Mark Henry at WrestleMania. Thankfully, they blew this off, and they had a one-off, and, basically, I'm just going to, I'm going to call it like I see it. It's about a minute and a half. Less than that, actually. So, Khali chest chops, and then he goes for a chop to the head. Mark Henry gets knocked to the outside. Khali follows him out very slowly. Mark Henry rolls back in, catches him with a corner splash, lifts him up, World's Strongest Slam, 1, 2, 3. So, hopefully we never see these two against each other again. Ever. Ever want to see this again. Mark Henry is on a collision course for WrestleMania with someone, but it's not really solidified exactly who it could be. I mean, I would put him against Sheamus, but it seems to me, like with these promos that we're cutting, and will be mentioned later on in the night, Sheamus and Wade Barrett are on a collision course, which I have no problem with, because obviously if we did a pay-per-view in the UK, that would be my main event, so. And it could main event anything, because they're awesome in the ring together. So we talk about The Miz's new movie, which is coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. When you have movies starring The Rock out in theaters, and you have movies starring John Cena out in theaters, you have movies starring, even the original of this series, of course, starred John Cena, and then Ted DiBiase Jr. was actually involved in one of these movies. And, of course, you're just getting movies in the next couple of weeks with David Otunga in a bit part and Wade Barrett in a bit part. And I heard Hornswoggle's supposed to do the Leprechaun movie, if that hasn't been dropped, and I think Brodus Clay's in Barricade. So, I mean, you have The Miz straight to DVD. And Miz TV is up next after this commercial break. So, in the ring, you have Zeb Coulter, Jack Swagger, Ricardo Rodriguez, and the World Heavyweight Champion himself, Alberto Del Rio, in the ring with The Miz for Miz TV. So, Miz basically starts introducing everyone. He says, he's talking about the YouTube videos and all Zeb and Jack's issues with America, and Alberto Del Rio specifically. Zeb brings up how the fact that Glenn Beck did chicken out, which is not that many times that Beck was actually mentioned. So, Zeb says up to 11 million undocumented workers are in this country, and he says what they really are, no PC words needed, they're illegal immigrants. And supposedly the country wants to grant them amnesty as the first step to citizenship. So Coulter says Alberto and his people drain Americans, real Americans, and of course Alberto is starting to get absolutely frustrated every 5 seconds. Miz says Alberto can talk, but Del Rio wants Zeb to continue. So here's the facts from Zeb Coulter. It takes 10 years for an individual to be able to claim citizenship in Mexico, and that a foreigner cannot own land in the country. He goes on to further say Alberto is influencing people to cross borders and take jobs from real Americans, and that America belongs to them and not Alberto Del Rio. He goes so far to call illegal immigrants criminals, and Alberto is about ready to just lose it any second. So he starts shouting him down. He tells Coulter, America doesn't belong to neither of them. It belongs to everyone. And 2 weeks before, Del Rio had only heard of people like Zeb Coulter, and unfortunately now he knows of him specifically. He hates bullies who hide behind the Constitution and challenges Swagger to fight as if he has a problem with Alberto Del Rio. Swagger says, we will see Del Rio at WrestleMania. We, the people. I'll tell you right now, I like this angle. It's really, really controversial. But like Eric Bischoff said, controversy creates cash. And it's very, very true. They're getting so much mainstream, and I mean mainstream publicity, whether right or wrong, whether good or bad, for this storyline with Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio. And these videos that are being shown on YouTube, Not this channel, obviously, but these videos that I'll be showing on We the People Zeb, which is the YouTube channel of Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter. And, you know, I'll go far back to say exactly what happened this weekend with the, not in character, the Broken Kayfabe promo on Glenn Beck that was posted on the WWE YouTube channel. And I thought it was incredible. Because, I mean, basically, Glenn Beck, from what I can tell here, is that he's misinformed about how this is going down. Obviously, he thinks that the characters of Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter are the ones who hate America, as well as the real people who hate what's wrong with America. And this storyline and what they're doing and talking all about the Tea Party and everything, all this stuff I have no knowledge of whatsoever. So, I like this angle personally. Swagger's DUI, at this point, I think if he gets anything, it'll be a slap on the wrist. So, and if they do anything to them, I think the only thing I would do at this point is have him not win the belt at WrestleMania. And after Alberto Del Rio wins, you have Ziggler cash in, and then Ziggler wins the belt. So, then he can start his run. And, I like that idea. I think right now, in the next couple of weeks, I think you have Jack Swagger obliterate Sin Cara and take him out of WrestleMania. And I think if you can get him to do it, if he's able to do it, I'd have Jack Swagger take out Rey Mysterio. And that's what really pisses off Alberto Del Rio. You can also have him take out Ricardo Rodriguez to the point that it's literally one-on-one at WrestleMania. And I think it'd be awesome. And really great heat building for Jack Swagger, and not like he needs it right now. So, apparently on the WWE Active, yay, let's put over the app once again. Like I didn't hear enough of it before the last several weeks on Raw. We see that during our commercial break, Zeb Coulter basically says The Miz had a bias during the interview and he wasn't a consummate broadcast journalist. And, of course, he gets attacked from behind by Swagger. And Swagger, of course, says, "We the people, we the people, we the people." I swear to you, if I drank at all, I would play a drinking game with Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter promos. Or every time that there was any Swagger matches in the ring, and every time the word "we the people" is uttered, take a drink. Because I'm sure you'll be bombed within seconds. Because, well, obviously you probably wouldn't, because most of the people that would try a drinking game like this, most likely are just, I can't say heavy drinkers, but at least social drinkers, so it'd probably take a while to get buzzed. But still, I mean, you're going to be drinking a lot, honestly, because We the People is uttered at least like 15 times every match. Up next, we had a non-title match. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not happy with this match either, honestly. The United States Champion Antonio Cesaro against the Viper Randy Orton. Now, Cesaro has pinned Randy Orton clean. Wade Barrett has pinned Randy Orton clean. I think it's now time the rebuilding stage for Randy Orton. But why? Honestly, the only thing I can see right now is he's a babyface on SmackDown. And given what he does later in the night, I think I know where they're going with him. And it's totally not going to be the direction I thought they were going to go. But we could still blow that off before WrestleMania, and it may not happen by then. So, I guess we're calling that, so I'll go with that. I can do the whole match here. The match lasted 3 minutes, and Cesaro losing in 3 minutes, like this reviewer said, and I agree with him, not a good sign. I think Cesaro is amazing. I think Claudio Castagnoli is literally one of the best wrestlers in the WWE. I love the Antonio Cesaro gimmick. I know it's lost on a lot of people. Kind of like how Vladimir Kozlov was lost on people. A lot of people didn't like Kozlov, only really knowing him for the double E, knowing him for that, and that's it. And of course the tag team was Santino, but that's another story altogether. But they really didn't realize that Kozlov was an awesome old-school style heel, and he worked really well. But the fans didn't gravitate towards him, so he got dropped. And that's what I'm worried is going to happen to Cesaro. Cesaro is amazing in the ring. He can work with anyone. He can work any style. I would believe personally, I don't care about the world's strongest man mantra, and I don't care about the fact that Mark Henry was in the 1996 Olympics. I think Antonio Cesaro is the strongest wrestler on the roster. And the fact that he gave Khalid the Gotch-style neutralizer, when it comes down to it, I mean, obviously I know it takes a lot of help from Khalid to pull that off, but I think that Cesaro could have deadlifted him, and that's the mark of someone who's absolutely strong. It's not just a gimmick. Excuse excuse me, Mark Henry can power slam someone. He can lift someone up slightly and then power slam them. Okay, forward power slam, fine. Khali got the neutralizer, which literally picking the guy up and dropping him on his face, a lot more impressive. So, we'll get to the match. So, Cesaro, we'll go midway spot here. Actually, I'll just go through the whole thing, it's 3 minutes long. So, Antonio hits a headlock, shoulder block, goes in for the other headlock again. Orton pushes him off, floats over, clothesline, and he hits a modified exploder suplex, which was really interesting because I've never seen Orton break that out before. Cesaro hits a boot, goes for the European to the back of Orton's head, goes for the deadlift gut wrench, which looks amazing every single time, only got a 2 count. So Orton fights out of a sleeper hold, and well, I almost called him Claudio again. So Antonio lays into Orton with some uppercuts, because of course he is the king of the European uppercut. And Orton fires back, clothesline, duck the clothesline, Samoa Joe power slam, you know the normal Orton chestnut there. He goes for the rope-assisted DDT, which I guess they're calling the snakebite DDT. I don't know if that's official or not, but that's what this reviewer is saying, and I think it works really well. So, he goes up, Cesaro hangs Orton up on the ropes, because he goes for the DDT and he got neck snapped, and that looked awesome. Orton reverses the whip, Cesaro got the boot up. He goes on the top rope, he's going up for the very European, which is that diving European uppercut from the top. And RKO, 1, 2, 3. So, clean loss in 3 minutes. Not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. So, apparently the rumors are all just eliminated immediately. And they're all put to bed because No Days Off himself, Darren Young, is back on Raw tonight. So, the primetime players are not missing any action. So, we're not going to be seeing any more Titus O'Neil singles matches. At least for the foreseeable future. So, Kane and Daniel Bryan, once again, they said they have to be on the same page when they face the primetime players. Bryan says, I can do this myself, and he says, I can do this blindfolded. And Kane goes, yeah, I'll be the guy that takes care of Darren Young, and you know what? And I'll also, wow, I just called him just Darren Young, so he's just going to take care of Darren Young, and that's it. So Titus O'Neil's not going to get anything. I'm going to take care of Young and Titus, and you know what? I can do this with one hand tied behind my back. So, Team Bricky, which is Vicky Guerrero, the managing supervisor of God knows, I don't even know, and the absolutely amazing Brad Bane Maddox show up. I guess they're being called Bricky now. Okay, I like this. So they interrupt Hell No, and they say they're going to do just that when they face the primetime players. And they start laughing, and Brian's like, I'm not going to be able to see. How am I not going to be doing this without being able to see? You know the funny thing is, Bryan came off like Jonah Hill in Inglourious Bastards. Because it's the same exact concept, and I honestly think that Bryan Danielson has seen seen Django Unchained. I don't know why I called it Bastards in this case, but I think I got Quentin on the brain from the Oscars. But basically, it's the same scene with Don Johnson and Jonah Hill in the middle of Django Unchained, like the scene with the bags on their heads is one of the funniest scenes in the world. Of course, the KKK scene that they basically do. I think it was really hilarious. And that's exactly what he said. He's like, why? How am I not going to be able to see? How am I supposed to do this if I'm unable to see? It's literally a shout out to Jonah Hill. And I really think Bryan Danielson have seen Django Unchained. And I think that, honestly, that's exactly the reason why he uttered the words like that. And props to Danielson if that's exactly where it came from, because I'm pretty sure it did. Speaking of that, when Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, they brought up the Oscars, kind of half-assed, and then, of course, it was a reason to air the WrestleMania 21 vignette. That was a parody of A Few Good Men, which was John Bradshaw Layfield back in the day when he was the World Heavyweight Champion against John Cena, of course. And I'll tell you, it's awesome. It looks great. So if you guys have the time, go back in YouTube land and find all the WrestleMania 21 promos. I mean, there is literally ones for everything. Like, there's a lot of really awesome ones. Like the When Harry Met Sally one, you're not going to see now, obviously, with Kurt Angle and Maria Kanellis. I think it's awesome. I like the Linda McMahon at the end. That was really cool as well. The Pulp Fiction one, of course, that was, the picture at least, was shown on the WWE Facebook page. Of course, it's Eddie Guerrero and Booker T. That's really awesome. Like, The Undertaker is Dirty Harry. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting ones. So go out and check those out when you get a chance. They're really funny. So, Sheamus comes out in a tux, and he basically saying he's going to talk about his Oscar snubs. So, this is going to be a bad segment for me, I got a feeling. And I was right. So he comes out and he says, I was disappointed with the Academy last night. I can't do an Irish accent, so I'm going to try. Not because of Ben Affleck's weird speech, or because Jennifer Lawrence fell down, or whether Seth MacFarlane is funny or not. It's about how they snubbed one of the greatest actors of the 21st century, Wade Barrett. So we watched Dead Man Down's trailer yet again, and of course this time we can actually spot him, which is interesting because usually I can't. And Sheamus goes... Barrett has amazing skills on the silver screen. It was amazed he was even in it. It was amazed that Colin Farrell was even in the movie until it was pointed out to him. So Barrett comes out with a smug smirk on his face, and he says green has never been more appropriate color on Sheamus. Envy seeping out of his every pore. Of course, we don't want to talk about the fact that Barrett could have shown Sheamus's role in The Escapist if they really wanted to go that direction, but I understand why they were doing this. But anyway, Wade Barrett's going to be a global movie star, and all Sheamus is going to be doing when Barrett's on the red carpet tonight is going to be returning the tux and drowning his sorrows at a local Irish pub. Sheamus agrees with him completely, and he warns about the paparazzi to capture Wade's good side, and he basically says, I have a hard time finding with your nose as it is. So Barrett charges in, Sheamus ducks, and brogue kick. Barrett smartly ducks out and retreats. So I got no problem with these guys working each other, but build it differently. It's very strange because it's like Sheamus is envious about Barrett's movie career, or not envious. They just wants to bash Barrett's movie career, given the fact that Barrett doesn't say a word in any of the trailers I've seen for Dead Man Down. I haven't seen the movie yet, obviously. Still got a couple weeks before it comes out, but when it comes down to it, I haven't heard anything from his character. I'm sure he's probably going to die at Colin Farrell's hands, because that's just how it works. Because he's the heel in a movie, in an action movie. And of course, the end game of this would probably be Colin Farrell killing Terrence Howard, because that's how the movie has to end. But could be interesting, because Barrett and Sheamus, yeah, I'm signed up. I don't care about how they get there. I just want it to happen. Up after that, of course, last week we saw the return of R-Truth to the ring during an absolute mugging from Damian Sandow on Kofi Kingston, and R-Truth came back, and I think we're headed towards Truth and Kofi against the Rhodes Scholars at WrestleMania. I know they were trying to put that team to bed, but I don't think it's going to happen now, and I think they're on a collision course. So Sandow's out for commentary, and there's a lot of really awkward commentary about using the words bromance, and talking about his mustache, and talking about Sandow's beard. So it's just really strange. I just want to gloss over that, actually, to be totally honest. So Truth hits a shoulder block, floats over, Cody gets the elbow up, and gets the back elbow, and Cody whips Truth to the corner. He hangs him up, he puts his leg on the rope, and he kicks it. And he's working on the leg. So he drives Truth to the corner, he splashes him, and he locks in a grounded full Nelson. Truth fights up to his feet. Cody kicked for the Truth. He goes for the beautiful disaster, and he misses this time. Truth hits the what's up, the old lie detector, flatliner, whatever you want to call it, and gets the 1, 2, 3. So 2 minutes. So Sandow comes to the ring. He tries to ambush Truth. Truth ducks him, rights and lefts, and drives Sandow out of the ring. So yeah, basically Truth beat both members of the Rhodes Scholars by himself. He didn't even need Kofi tonight. So we watch another We the People Zeb video on jobs, which is really interesting, so go watch that if you get a chance. Basically, the gist of it is this. Zeb stated that whoever's crossing borders and taking jobs from real Americans should be wearing ski masks because they're thieves and they should be dealt with as such. And of course the match was announced for later tonight, given the fact of the Pearl Harbor attack from Jack Swagger earlier on in the night. It's going to be Jack Swagger against The Miz later on in the evening. So up next, we had a non-title match between the WWE Tag Team Champions Hell No against the Return of the Primetime Players, which they both have whistles now. So Brian's got a mask on, and of course Kane's got an arm tied behind his back. So he goes to give Charles Robinson the no lock, and he basically gets shoved off. He's like, I'm the referee, it's okay. So Titus and Young utilize their double whistles, and they're trying to confuse Daniel Bryan. And Titus ambushes him from behind. Young hits some boots and tag into Titus. He misses the splash. Bryan rolls to the outside. He goes to, Kane goes to help him up, and Danielson just forearms him harder than the side of the head. Of course, he didn't know who he was hitting, obviously, so Kane just walked it off. So Bryan trips when he falls actually when he gets back in the ring. Darren tags in, misses a charge in the ring post. Bryan makes a tag actually. Kane just slapped the back, so that's the tag in. Kane one-handed beat down on Darren Young, clotheslines in the corner, and the reverse elbow. He goozles Young, he boots Titus, Young fights out, they kick the knee of Kane, Kane goes for the goozle again, this time a choke slam, 1, 2, 3, so... Titus was talking all the time on Twitter about this was going to be killing rumors, and I'll agree with this reviewer here, honestly, if the Primetime Players can't win like this, there's not much hope for a world tag team title reign in their near future. And that's a damn shame, because honestly, the Primetime Players are a real tag team, and that's something the WWE is highly lacking right now. So, if they're going to do anything with the tag team titles, I think a newly used Primetime Players team that's not being used as a comedy act is the right step in the right direction, but I don't think that's going to happen, and that's a damn shame. So up next, we get the Shield. Of course, we had a recap of Vince and Paul's fight with Lesnar coming out and the brawl with Triple H. So the Shield's music hits. And they make their way through the crowd. Ambrose gets on the mic, and of course, immediately, gold right there. Doesn't matter what he says, he's gold. It's going to keep getting worse for the WWE, and there won't be peace until justice has been delivered. They are dominant, and it makes the guys in the back uncomfortable. But he doesn't care. Assemble any supergroup, and it'll all end the same. So Roman Reigns gets on the mic, and he says, if you don't believe in the Shield, justice will haunt you and grind your bones to dust. Of course, he yells out the word dust, because it's how it works. Roman Reigns yells. That's how he makes his statements. So Seth Rollins goes, since there's no one left, they won at TLC, and they solved the Cena problem at Elimination Chamber, and Rollins personally took down Chris Jericho with his knee to the skull, which was a great promo. I enjoyed that very much. There's no one left to challenge them. Okay, once again, the second time they tease this without teasing it at all, there's no one left to challenge the Shield. Who comes to mind immediately? Bing, The Undertaker. If anything, if their Taker's not going to work WrestleMania, have the Shield take him out. I mean, you could do it that way. You could really build the Shield that way. And when Taker comes back, oh Lord, it's on. And Taker can take out every single one of the Shield meticulously by himself. That could be the end game for the Shield. It's a very good possibility. But I still don't know about Taker in WrestleMania, and I don't think they do at this point. But if I find out anything, I'll tell you. Because, of course, it's on the internet. It's got to be true. Like Taker being in Dallas tonight. But I found out, like, at 7 o'clock, my time, that Taker wasn't going to be in Dallas. So that's why I made that little spoiler alert post on Twitter. And there was rumors about somebody being hustled into the ring during the commercial break. Yeah, that was proven to be correct. Daniel Herron from the WNS podcast was live on site for Raw last night in Dallas. And I think we'll find out on the WNS podcast this week if Taker was really there or not, which I hear from everybody told me that Taker's not there. So anyway, so Sheamus comes out to the ring. This time he's actually wearing gear. And he's itching to fight. And he's not going anywhere. So Ambrose and Reigns stalk up the ramp to hit him, and everyone's waiting for who's going to Pearl Harbor Seth Rollins, who's left in the ring by himself. And this time, it's Randy Orton. He gets up, RKO, and leaves him laying. Jumps into the crowd, walks into the crowd. Ambrose and Reigns are left fuming, and Sheamus and Orton got the last laugh. They kicking the proverbial hornet's nest of the Shield. So, we're leading towards Sheamus and Randy Orton against the Shield. So, it's Ryback, Sheamus, and Randy Orton against the Shield at WrestleMania, maybe? I don't know about that. So get the tag team titles off? Hell no, if they're going to do anything with the tag team titles, or do anything with Daniel Bryan and Kane anyway at WrestleMania. But there's so many directions you can go. So many. I thought the Shield was going to get the tag team titles at WrestleMania, but I don't know now, honestly. So, I mean, stay tuned, I guess. We'll see what happens. Up next, of course, we saw the real American, I like to call him the Dark Patriot, Jack Swagger, against The Miz. And this was about a 7-minute match. Of course, we were reminded how the attack during commercial break was how we ended up to this match. So, let's talk about the match, shall we? Let's get to this. And midway through the match, he slams Miz, hits a Swagger bomb, only gets the near fall. So Swagger goes for the armbar, and he fights out, and he hits the old school expulsion. And I shout out Steve Corino, because apparently he uses Corino's moves now. It's really interesting. And, which, if you guys don't know, it's the reverse DDT combination, and then spin around, grab the neck, and reverse neck breaker. Which was how Steve Corino finished off people in ECW when he actually won a match. Or even when he didn't win a match, that's how he finished off people in ECW. At least near falls. But still. So, Swagger hits the spin slam, gets a near fall, Miz gets driven into the corner, and he fires up left hand's big boot in the running clothesline in the corner, the Miz clothesline, you know, the one that JC would hit in XMCW. But, shout out to Jerry Lynch, haven't talked to you in a while, sir, hope you're doing well. But, double sledge, this time he came off the top with the crown, of course, the Ready to Rumble reference, he crowned him off the top. Miz goes for a boot to the head, Swagger shoves him into the ropes, and he gets caught up in the ropes. His ropes are literally wrapped around his foot, which of course is setting up the ankle lock, which is exactly what they're doing. So Swagger kicks the leg out, Owen Hart style, and literally flips the Miz up and over and lands him on his neck, which looked amazing. He locks in the Patriot Act, the Patriot Lock, the ankle lock, whatever you want to call it, and the Miz taps. Swagger and Miz showed tremendous aggression in this match, and Miz's face turn continues. Still not working for me. They got to do something else with it. Even putting him up against Swagger tonight, it didn't work as well as it could have. He still works as a heel, so Miz needs to work a little bit more like a babyface. And I'm a huge fan of The Miz, as anyone. I wear my Miz shirts proudly. Even my haters love me because I'm awesome shirt. But when it comes down to it, honestly, I think that The Miz is a better heel. I mean, I understand why I wanted The Miz to be a babyface. I get that completely. But it's not working so far. I understand all the things, and I've put this over before, so I definitely know it's true. All the things that The Miz has done for the company outside of the ring. The fact that, other than John Cena, he is the biggest superstar to have outside of the ring. He does all the charity functions. He's at all the events. He does all the Make-A-Wish. That, obviously, not as much as Cena, but still, he does all that stuff. He does a lot of really positive PR for WWE, and I understand that's why he's a great babyface. He's got a movie coming out, so obviously you got to promote that, even though it's not in theaters. It's still got a DVD Blu-ray release, so you got to do something and promote that in any way possible. So, continued win for Swagger, and Swagger looks awesome. And like I said, I think he needs to squash Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio before Mania. So we'll do that. And you know, honestly, I think if you really could do it, I think, you know, I don't know if it would work or not. I know it would work, but I mean, this is the time, like, this would have been a good way to bring in Mil Mascaras. I don't know what he can do in the ring still, but have Swagger take Mil Mascaras out. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the heat on Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio's mind if he took out Mil Mascaras? That would be insane and intense. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this, and, sorry, I had a little sleep in my eyes anyway. So, of course, I'm going to gloss over the major putover for Sonic, but I really want to try those spicy chicken bites that they have now. They sound amazing. So, basically, The Rock presenting the brand new WWE title, which, like I said, I'm still not sold on. And then Triple H touted, he said the ass kicker is back, and it's up to Brock whether he wants to stand around and bleed or he wants to do something about it. So, we go to our final interview segment of the night. John Cena in there with Josh Matthews. He says, it's Thunderdome in Dallas. 2 men walk in, 1 man walk out with a ticket to WrestleMania. And Punk, the man who says that Cena made a mistake, is wrong about Cena's decision to put his title shot on the line. Punk's title reign and Cena's title reigns, they don't matter anymore. It's all about put up or shut up, and there's no second place. John Cena's back. Everyone knows what that means. He doesn't care what The Rock is cooking or that Punk is the best in the world. He's ready to serve up humble pie to all of his critics. And if you still believe in hustle, loyalty, and respect, then you know that their time is over and our time is now. Great promo from Cena. Like I said, every week Cena's getting better and better in the ring. Now, Cena's always been good, but every week he's getting better that he's growing more on me. I think I can say truthfully, I am a John Cena fan. And I think maybe the next piece of merchandise may actually get me to buy a John Cena shirt. The rest of them, I don't like most of them for a lot of reasons. So, we're almost there. with the 10 years shirt, it's quite there, but it's not there yet. So maybe the next shirt will be there. And you know what? Honestly, after all this talk, after all these promos back and forth, I really want to see Cena to be the guy behind the Shield because, number one, I predicted it all along. And number two, I think if you're going to have John Cena be the heel, finally, if they're actually going to pull the trigger on it, they need to have him behind the Shield because that's the only thing I can see really working. But again, like I said, you have to build a credible babyface to go against him if they want to do it. And The Rock's not going to work because he's not going to be there every Raw. He's not going to be there every house show fighting against the heel John Cena and the Shield. So, I mean, you leave Cena as a babyface. So, I mean, there's really nothing you can do at this point. Sorry. Here's the next thing that bothers me. We see a tout of The Undertaker returning in Waco. And, of course, the internet was like, foreshadowing? So, anyway, I haven't mentioned it yet. Well, I mentioned it slightly earlier on in this video. We're going to get a Monday Night Raw Old School edition next week, which is going to be awesome. And I love Old School Raw, because Old School Raw is amazing. They bring all sorts of awesomeness. And they bring back the old red, white, and blue ropes. And they bring back the blue referee shirts. And Michael Cole has to wear a gaudy yellow blazer. And that is awesome. So, it's going to be amazing to see Old School Raw next week. Now, this match between John Cena and CM Punk for the WWE title shot at WrestleMania was phenomenal. This match went over 30 minutes, and it was back and forth, and I'm running low on time here. So I'm going to go all the way to the end. So I'm actually going to go with all of this here because this was a tremendous match. And guys, if you want to, check it out. It's already out on YouTube right now. I mean, it's a shorter version of the match, but I'm sure their actual match will be posted on the YouTube channel probably by the time this video is posted on the internet. So check that out. But here's the thing. So, we go to our final commercial break. And this was after Punk hit the suicide dive to the outside, he rolled Cena back in, and we took the break. So, that's where we are. So, midway through the match. We come back from commercial, Punk's got the abdominal stretch tucked on, he tossed Punk out, and Cena goes for the AA. During the break, of course, Punk drove to the mat with his DDT. Now Cena goes for the comeback, Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice. Of course Cena's not going to tap, but he gets close, and he rolls Punk over. 1-2, kick out. Punk goes up, swinging neck breaker, only got a 2 count. Cena goes for the kick, goes for the STF. He pulls Cena to the ropes and hangs him up. Springboard clothesline from CM Punk. Punk goes for another clothesline, he misses. Turn around, Cena locks in the STF. And he reverses into the Anaconda Vice. Tremendous counter right there from Punk. Cena struggles out, and this time turns it into the crossface. And of course, Michael Cole called it the STF, and he was wrong. But anyway, Punk fights out, rolls him up, and 1-2, kick out. So they're exchanging rights and lefts, and Punk kicks him in the stomach. He ducks the roundhouse. Cena hits the... Wow, long day. Cena hit the... hit the Protobomb. And 1-2... No! Punk kicks him. Goes for the go to sleep. Cena floats out, rolls him up. Punk stops the roll out. 1-2, kick out. Spin slam one more time, which of course they're calling it the spin slam, but it's the Protobomb, sorry. Goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle, this time like he did last time, and of course he got kicked in the face last time. Goes to the AA, Punk counters, go to sleep, Cena counters out. Batista bomb. Yeah, sit out powerbomb from John Cena. 1-2, no, kick out. Good lord, that was almost it. So, Punk hits the knee in the corner. He goes up for the top for the superplex. John fights out, pushes Punk off, hits the guillotine leg drop to the back of the neck. 1-2, no. Once again, kick out. Cena picks up Punk. Roundhouse kick to the side of the head. He goes for the other running knee. Cena counters, goes for the AA. 1-2, Punk once again kicks out. And we're getting really hardcore now, folks. We're actually getting to the twilight of this matchup. Both men on the outside. Punk rams Cena into the ring post. Refs at 9. Cena just literally slides in right at 10. Not a count-out victory, so it's not going to end that way. Punk picks up Cena. Go to sleep. 1-2. Cena kicks out. So Punk goes for go to sleep again. Cena counters in the STF once again. Punk's trapped. He's struggling out. He makes the ropes right before he's about to tap out. Cena picks him up. Punk kicks him. Goes for the Jerry Lawler-style pile driver. 1-2, no. See, Super Cena is not defeated by a mere pile driver. So, the crowd is about ready to lose it. Punk's about ready to lose it. What is it going to take to put Super Cena away? Punk goes for another running knee. This time he connects. Cena shoves him off. Cena hits one of the worst Hurricane Ranas I've ever seen in my life, but he actually broke one out. And, of course, Punk stumbles to his feet, dumbfounded. AA, 1, 2, 3, John Cena's going to WrestleMania. What a hell of a match between John Cena and CM Punk, and the best match of the year on free television in 2013. But it's only February. But still, amazing match. Cena and Punk always put together cohesive, amazing, tremendously intense matches where you never know who's going to win until that final 3 count. Because it's just amazing. What a match. And that ends this 2-year rivalry on a high note. Punk loses nothing from losing. And Cena, of course, is going to WrestleMania. He's going to face The Rock, which is the end game we've all wanted from the beginning. Punk really has no beef of how we can make this a 3-way, so CM Punk obviously on a different course now for WrestleMania. We'll find out if that's with The Undertaker or who that's with down the road. Obviously, it's not going to be with Alberto Del Rio because I think Jack Swagger is fine now. So, we have Punk and Taker at WrestleMania still hanging in the balance right now. Taker did not show up tonight, and the internet was saying that Taker was going to show up tonight, and he did not. As of 7 o'clock Eastern Time, we knew that he was not in Dallas. At least, we didn't know if he's being hidden or not, but he was not in Dallas to our knowledge. So, a tremendous match to end Raw, and a great Raw. I really enjoyed. No Divas match, sorry Juliet, and no Brodus Clay and Tensai, so we didn't get to see that tonight. But overall, the show was great. I thought it was really well done. A couple things I want to, as I scroll through this. Dolph Ziggler needs wins, not losses. Ryback can be built up, but put him against someone else. Never ever put Mark Henry and the Great Khali in the ring together. Put Mark Henry in with someone else. I suggest Sheamus after WrestleMania, unless they want to do it on SmackDown. Split up, hell no, or don't split him up, but in this case, don't make Bryan Danielson the heel, make him the babyface, because it doesn't make any sense, personally. So, there's always that. And pile drivers and power bombs should be finishers, not hope spots, and not false finishes. If you were going to break out a pile driver after so long, let it be the finish of the match, and they didn't do that. So, Antonio Cesaro is probably about to lose the United States title, and that's a damn shame. Randy Orton and Sheamus are on a collision course with the Shield. Looks like for WrestleMania, I think we're going to see Truth and Kofi against the Rhodes Scholars somewhere down the road, sooner rather than later. Jack Swagger is still amazing on the mic, and so is Zeb Coulter. I love Dirty Dutch, and he's awesome in this program. Triple H and Brock Lesnar are on a collision course, and they're finally going to, they finally started to admit that. It's actually going to happen. So, what a Raw. What a night, folks. And what a 60 minutes talking about WWE. God, I can hope I talk about TNA this much next week. TNA is actually live this week. Live from my old stomping grounds, the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida, at Universal Studios. And Robbie E has promised a big bro to come in to join him, obviously, because Robbie T turned on him last week on Impact. Not last week on Impact. Last week, that was live to tape from the UK on Impact. But I think we're going to see the Big O in TNA, and I think that's going to happen. And I have no problems with this whatsoever. Ivelisse from Tough Enough is supposed to be your gut check participant this week. If they do gut check this week, I know she's the next gut check participant. So, TNA looks awesome this week, and of course we still don't know what's going to happen between Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. We'll find out more about that in the near future. And I'm going to get off here. I got to take a shower because Alan will be here in like 40 minutes, so I got to get ready. And hope you guys enjoyed this video of my recap of WWE Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed myself immensely, which is something I can't normally say on Monday night. The 3-hour Raw actually went by real quick this week. Not much filler. I actually appreciated most of it. Some of the wrong people lost. Antonio Cesaro shouldn't have lost, and neither should have Antonio Cesaro should not have lost, and neither should have Dolph Ziggler. Not because I like them, because I think they need to be built up right now. And having Randy Orton win, I don't understand what good that does. And I really don't understand what good it does to put Dolph under when he still has the briefcase, and we have 6 weeks before he can cash in at WrestleMania. So, I'm going to get off here. Thanks again for watching. If you guys found this YouTube channel for any reason other than me telling you about it, thank you for being here, and I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Wrestling, Disney, and movies, that's what we talk here on Sir Owen Disney's awesome YouTube channel. So, until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.